Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Steven.
And I forgot to even say the person we were doing this time. Today we're doing Nightcrawler. Uh, I even pulled him up on my phone so I didn't forget his name in the moment, and then I just forgot to do it. Oh well. It was a long night yesterday. The reason why being is that we had a tournament, and it was a lot of fun. But we'll go over that later. Before we get there, how is everybody doing? How are you doing, Steven?
Oh, I'm fine. I had a long drive there and a long drive back, and I played a tournament. So yeah, it was a very eventful day. So
yeah, you had the longest day of all, I think.
probably. So
yeah,
but it was worth it. So
yeah, I appreciate you coming down. Brandon, how are you feeling?
I'm good. I didn't sleep a lot, but life.
Yeah, indeed. How are you doing, Brad?
I'm doing fine. I'm the only one
That's
that
good to
didn't
hear.
play in a tournament yesterday.
But you were still stuck there. You were. Well, we'll cover that later. It's real good to hear from all of you again after so short a period of time. So I think that there's not a whole lot of news to cover as far as from AMG. There's just a little bit of a correction on timelines. Oh boy, I forget the details. Brad, do you have the details on the timelines changes?
Yeah. So there was a mistake. They had Sin listed under Hydra, but not Cabal or Criminal Syndicate. And I had mentioned that I thought that was a mistake and that Sin should not be on the list at all. And Sin is no longer on the list. Cassandra Nova, there's a mistake with her. She was listed as Sentinel, but not as Cabal. So they fixed that. She's now listed as Cabal, but not as a Sentinel.
Oops.
So
Oops.
I expect her to be added back to the list. I thought that would have already happened by now, but it hasn't. So.
Because that brings the roster for Sentinels down to 3, nay 2.5, because 2 of them are the same model.
There are 2 entries listed on the PDF.
Oh boy.
so here's it also shows us that they are willing to remove and possibly add characters to that roster in the future.
I don't think it does, because I think that this is a mistake that they're going to fix.
Okay. They
may be willing to do that in the future, but I don't think they've done that yet. I think this is just a mistake. Because Cassandra Nova's Sentinel card is still listed.
Okay.
They mean for her to be in the Sentinels.
It's not like she's being overplayed right now at the moment.
No, I'm just wondering if this is maybe a foretelling of them willing to add new models that come out. Like the Spider Foes are not listed on here, but we know that they are coming. So
True.
Well, yeah, the list is going to change as stuff comes out. I just think that there won't be a difference between the main game and timelines as far as affiliations go. I think they will be.
Oh, okay.
I think they will be the same.
Okay. Here's a question. Since they removed Sin entirely, what do you think the chances are that they're planning to come out with a new version of Sin?
Better than they were.
Yeah. Uh, so Brad pointed something out to me at the tournament that they're trying to do only one version of every character in the timelines, and
And that is clear because Amazing Spider-Man is not playable. And that really feels like a card that they would otherwise include in timelines because it doesn't get played enough.
right. And so that's my thought for Sin, is that since Sin is not on this list, that she may be in the future. They're trying to plan out a new Sin version.
We did get a new Crossbones.
That's true. And if anyone needs a new version who was not touched in the errata, it is Sin.
And every X-Men. Okay, what do we need to talk about now?
Wow.
Wow. Well, okay. So, do you want to talk about the games that we played recently?
I haven't played any MCP recently.
Oh man, I feel so bad. So at the tournament, Brad was organizing, and we were supposed to have 6 people, but one of the people dropped out at the last moment, so we were down to 5, which would have been an awkward number because there would have been a bye every round. And in order to prevent anyone who traveled or took time off work from having to take the bye, Brad jumped on the grenade and he just sat out the tournament. So thank you for doing that, Brad. We appreciate it. But also, it's just unfortunate that you didn't get to play any.
He didn't want to
Yeah.
catch another L to me in a tournament.
He didn't what? Sorry, I missed you.
He didn't want to catch another L to me in a tournament.
Ooh.
Oh, there it is.
There's some smack.
If you say so, Brandon.
So the people who participated were myself, Steven, Brandon, and our friend Borka, who is also an excellent player who play. He's been on the podcast. I think he was on one of the Sentinel episodes. So go listen to that if you want to know who we're talking about.
He's been on a couple episodes.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. We did it round robin style, so we all played each other so that we all got 3 rounds in. And we'll start with round 1. So, my first game was against Borka, and I was playing Spider Foes in this tournament. We were also doing this was an affiliation battle tournament. And that means we were only allowed to play characters who are in the affiliation we choose. I chose Spider Foes, and Borka chose Guardians of the Galaxy. I played Doc Ock, the new Doc Ock, as my leader for every game I played. But I played in this first round Doc Ock, Rhino, Venom, and Kraven the Hunter. Oh, wait, no, that's not correct. I didn't play Venom. I played Kraven the Hunter, Mysterio, and who's the other 3? There's one more 3 that I can't think of. Oh, my goodness.
Lizard?
Lizard. Oh, how did I forget Lizard? How did I forget Lizard? He's my boy, Lizard. Anyway, what basically happened in this game is the Guardians of the Galaxy shot all of my people to death, and I lost. The game ended 16-11, I think. It was either 16 or 17. And Borka is an excellent player, and he beat the tar out of me. But that's just how it goes sometimes. The other game that happened was between Brandon and Steven. And do you guys want to talk about it?
No, I'll defer to Brandon on this one.
Defer to Brandon on this one. Interesting.
Right.
We played. He was playing Criminal Syndicate, and I was playing Defenders. We played Sword Base and
Montesi.
Montesi. Yeah, we played at 15 points.
Mm-mm. Well, I think we played it. No, did you pick the points? No, it was 18.
Yeah, we
Because I
played
went
18.
6 wide.
Yeah, I played 18 the first 2 rounds. I played 15 the last round. I couldn't remember which round I played 15. So yeah, we played 18. I played Daredevil's New Leadership with Hulk, Ghost Rider, and Punisher. Steven played 6 wide. He played Kingpin, Craven, Mysterio, Black Cat,
Bullseye
Bullseye,
and Hood.
Hood. Yeah, I didn't listen. I was counting. There was no way I was remembering all of them.
That's fine.
Some were much more relevant to the game than others.
Yes, very much so. So, yeah, I think sword base kind of backfired on you because it wasn't too kind to you.
Yeah, I whiffed on 4 in a row on sword base. That inevitably lost me
Yeah.
a round. I feel like if it goes to another round, I probably win the game. It didn't get to another round. We didn't go to round 5.
And Mysterio had a pretty big play.
Mysterio had a Grand Illusion Grand Illusion round that was really, really beneficial because it was the only time I decided to roll crit results. So it was a really good match. Lost like 16-10. But for those listening on why I feel like I would have won going, if he would have got 15, why I feel I would have won is Mysterio was dead, Black Cat was dead, Bullseye
things were
was
dying. Yeah, things were dying.
Bullseye, Craven were both dead. But one died, one was about to die. Craven I don't think was dead. I think it was about to die. Kingpin had day. I think Kingpin would have been like your only truly alive character.
Correct.
So, I spent a Ghost Rider action trying to flip 3 different sword bases and whiffed on all 3. So that was fun.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I
So
think
that was
honestly, I think sword base, just from our game that we played, Brandon, I think sword base is supposed to be a wide scenario because you have to have as many characters to activate those as possible.
I think it was I think it like I said it was just close. I think it has to play differently. I think I have to play 1-6 or 1-5 and then replace the so like I played sword base in round 3, which we'll talk about, and I did not play this. We played 15. And my list at 15 is very, very good. It's Hulk, Ghost Rider, and Daredevil. But on sword base, I think on sword base I have to replace. So when we get to it in round 3, I played Daredevil, Iron Fist, Punisher, Ghost Rider, which I think on sword base was a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just have to take more bites at the apple is what it gets down to.
Yeah, so it just it was fun. I mean, I had 50-50 shot. I honestly just needed to hit one of them. It happens. It's a dice game. I'm not upset about it.
Foreshadowing, I didn't win any more games after this.
We had all 3 of my games were really good, which Fred will detest shortly. I felt like all 3 of my games were good games. So
I will attest to it. I will not detest you.
you should.
Well, so I guess moving on to round 2. My round 2 was against Brandon, and we played. It was Gamma, and it was Cubes.
Hammers. It was Gamma and Hammers.
Oh, it was Hammers. You're right. It was Hammers. Oh, man, I hate Hammers. Hammers
Gamma
against Hulk.
Gamma Ham.
So we were playing at 15 points, and he was playing the list that he just said. Daredevil, Hulk, Ghost Rider, which at 15 points on Gamma is basically the worst thing in the world. It's
Not
it's
for
so
me.
hard to deal with. What?
So it's not bad for me. It's all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's not bad for you. It's real easy. You just apply Hulk, and things go well. So I was playing Lizard, Venom, uh, Rhino, and Doc Ock. That was my team, and I gotta say, I think I put up as good a fight as possible against a very difficult situation, but I ended up losing this game. Uh,
I have a
this is
pretty
some
impressive kill count actually. Now that I think about it, yesterday, because I definitely killed Rhino, Venom,
yeah.
and Doc Ock was the only character alive.
Yeah, you killed Lizard, Venom,
Yeah.
and Rhino in this game.
Yeah.
Leaving Doc Ock the only living model in my team.
Hulk did have all 4 hammers at the end of the game. He didn't need to do anything with them, but he did just get to pick them up.
Yeah, because all 4 hammers were in a pile.
Because Rhino collected some hammers, and then Rhino found out that he doesn't have a good fight against Hulk and Daredevil.
Absolutely not. I think it was Daredevil that killed him.
Yeah, Daredevil
Rhino
does,
ran away with all 4 hammers.
and then I gamma
and-
launched Daredevil at Rhino.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it was
then
good
Daredevil killed Rhino, no problem.
You should have ran to our board.
Yeah, that was the only. So this game, normally the play is I gamma launch Ghost Rider, and then Ghost Rider has 2 attacks in the center of the board. I didn't need to do that in this game, and it worked out really well because it did allow me to gamma launch Daredevil late in the game, and literally just get to then attack 3 times because on his backside he gets a 2 power free 0 cost attack. So it did give me 3 attacks into Rhino, which is good. Rhino not having any real defensive tech or attack back or anything. He has
He's
damage
got-
reduction.
Yeah, I was gonna say damage
But-
reduction is defensive tech.
Yeah, when he's rolling 3 dice, it's not great.
Yeah, true. Well,
But-
Steven,
Yep.
do you want to talk about your second round against
Yep.
Borka?
I played Borka, and Borka played a very good scenario. We played Mayor Fisk for his secures, and we played Legacy Virus for my extracts, and he proceeded to have Rocket go off and daze the world. Basically, Rocket had a very good Deadly Duo turn. So
Yeah, that card
it-
is nuts. That card is
It is.
insane.
It's pretty good, and I fell right into it. I played Claw this game because I wanted to get Claw on the table because I had painted him, and it's probably my ineptitude with him and the fact that I just didn't know. But Claude underperformed quite greatly, so
Yeah,
it is what it is. So at one point we were tied 10-10, but then he ended up winning 16-10. So that's all you can do. So, but he played a fantastic game. I just didn't have the wherewithal to put the right people in the right places. So, like I said, Claw was he was interesting at times, but just not quite what you needed him to be. That's all. So,
yeah.
but like I said, Borka played a fantastic game. Can't say anything more about that, and I lose. So,
Oh well. I don't know. Claw seems like he's way overpriced. I mean, he's good on paper, but his price is 5 threat for what he does, which seems hard to meet. It's hard to get 5 threat worth of value out of him.
well,
The
I don't
paint
know.
job looked really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it
I
really
appreciate
is. Everybody, Steven painted him, and he looks great. The model is awesome.
You guys are too kind. So,
The biggest issue is I mean we talked about it yesterday. I don't think he's very good, and I think you have to try really hard to make him good, and I don't think that's a good thing.
Actually, his from what I played with him yesterday is the fact that his power economy is not that great. So you really need to run him in Cabal with Red Skull, the original version, to get his power economy up there and going. So,
Okay.
Unfortunately, he is a power starved character because all the things that you want to do that are neat on his card, like the healing, the people getting close to him and then you pushing them off for 3 power, and then his spender at 5. It's you need power economy, and in criminals he just doesn't have it. So it is what it is.
Indeed. Well, do you want to move on to round 3?
We can
I'll take that as a yes. Yeah. Okay, so my third round was against Steven.
Yep.
I was playing. We played on intrusions and deadly legacy virus, and so that is 2 C's, which will come up later because I decided to play sinister traps on the middle zone, and I ended up, as Steven played this absolutely right, and he ended up pushing Carnage into the middle zone and making me blow myself up with my own sinister trap. Which
it always happens.
Sucks. Yeah, yeah.
When I play Spider Foes, the same thing happens. It's like, how did my character get to the trap? So.
I think that if it's 2 C's ever again, I'm never doing sinister traps. I'm just taking a different card. But the list that I played, I believe that both of those are 19 points. Is that correct? I think that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we were playing 19 points. I played Doc Ock, Rhino, Carnage, Craven the Hunter, and Green Goblin. Did I play Craven? I don't think I did.
I played
Lizard, and Green Goblin.
How do you forget about Lizard in every single game you've played so far?
I'll tell you exactly why. Because he does nothing except for get killed, but that's his job. That's what he does.
No, it's because he's not painted.
Well, yeah, that too.
Because they all look the same. Because they're all big boys on the table, and it's like gray blob, gray blob, gray blob, gray blob.
I mean, that's probably a part of it. You're probably right about that. What were you playing, Steven?
I was playing Kingpin, MODOK, Raven, Goblin, and Bullseye, and there's one more in there, and Hood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the first round of this game, things were shaping up pretty well. I was doing well on my right side of the board, where Rhino was able to daze Craven because I blew up my attack roll.
Yeah,
I got one
shot.
attack. I got one attack
shot.
against Craven, and I did him 5 damage. And that made Craven drop his legacy virus cure, and Rhino picked it up. This will be relevant later. On the other side of the board, things were not going nearly as swimmingly for me. I, of course, was very... we were both avoiding the middle because there was a sinister trap there, and no one wanted to set it off. So I ended up having to expose Carnage, and I hid him behind a van, and I was like, okay, he'll be safe here. And then at the beginning of round 2, MODOK throws the van into another vehicle, revealing Carnage, and then manages to beat the tar out of Carnage.
Yeah, well, before that, I had played Smash on MODOK too.
Oh yeah, that too.
So he took out three buildings in one round. Three pieces of train, I should say. Yeah. So, and then
MODOK.
he took out poor Lizard. So,
yeah, and man, so that was happening, and then I saw a bizarre opportunity after you had pushed Carnage into the middle zone and did him a ton of damage as well, by my own sinister trap. I saw an opportunity appear where
Well,
there
the
was
opportunity was given to you because I was like, Craven was mad and trying to take Rhino out
yeah
because I gave you a lot of power.
yeah you did. You attacked Rhino and did him some substantial damage. And one thing about Doc Ock's new leadership, a new affiliation bonus, is that it works incredibly well with Rhino. I think that Rhino sings under the new Doc Ock because if you get attacked and you take 1 damage, you gain 3 power from that. One from the from ornery, one from the affiliation, and one from the damage dealt. That's so he is always swimming in power under Doc Ock's new leadership. So, my Rhino does a Hail Mary. He stampedes towards the middle zone and then has to short move towards the middle zone. He picks up the second Legacy Cure. And then he makes an attack targeting MODOK, places himself within range 1 of where the third Legacy Cure had fallen, and he picks that one up. So now Rhino is ready to be killed to synthesize this Legacy Cure virus, but he has to make it to the end of the cleanup phase.
Correct.
Steven, Steven
I
has one, like 2 activations or 1?
I have Goblin and Kingpin.
That's right. And Goblin whiffed, which was
Yes,
unfortunate. He
very
I
much
think he
so.
rolled just real bad.
And I had a mistake. I will admit it. So I forgot to roll 1 extra die. So
That's true. And it's relevant because that 1 extra damage would have been enough to, and you did roll it later and it was a damage. So that 1 extra damage would have been Rhino dazed, and he would have dropped the 3 Legacy Cures. And then Kingpin had to move as one of his actions to get into range for his Cane Laser, and then his Cane Laser didn't do any damage.
nope. I rolled 1 hit. You rolled 1 block.
Yep. So Rhino ended up scoring me the entire Legacy Cure, and at that point I was so far ahead on victory because I think I scored more victory points in the first round as well.
You scored
I-
4-0 in the first round.
Right. And so I had 11 victory points to Steven's like
1 or 0.
yeah, and it was an insurmountable amount of difference.
Yeah, I would have had to table you. So I mean,
Right. So we called it there, and I think that
I mean, you might as well leave out on top, right? I was like, I couldn't deal with the, it would have been a slog to come back. Like I said, I would have had to kill everybody, and it's just one of those things. It's like, nah, you did the risk. The risk worked out. Might as well just call the game there and say, good on you.
yeah. Well, I appreciate it. It was a risky play, but it just shows. I think Rhino with Doc Ock is an incredible combination now. I think it's a great combo. The one thing about this affiliation battle that I can say that I learned is that Spider Foes really need a 2-pointer, but otherwise it's a great faction. It's a really, really good faction.
Or
Shocker.
I would contend they need a 5-pointer.
Ooh, that would also be nice.
Shocker.
That would also be great. Are you saying shocker as in it's shocking, or shocker as in the character Shocker who's coming out?
I think the character Shocker that's coming out will be a 2-pointer.
Yeah.
I think
If-
Sandman's
if-
going to be a 5.
If they are still making 2-pointers.
Yeah, that's the question.
That's a
'cause
big
they're
if.
Yeah. Well, we still need to hear Brandon's third round. I think that we swallowed up a lot of time with that convo. Brandon, How did your third round go?
I played Borka. We played Research Station and Sword Base, so we played 15 points. I played Ghost Rider, Daredevil, Iron Fist, Punisher. He played Star-Lord, Rocket, Groot, Drax, Gamora. Yep. Just want to make sure my math there. He had some really bad die rolls. He moved Groot up into the center. I got to long move Daredevil onto the center point and then make a strike attack, which gave him three power. Uh, he got to he moved. He came up with Star-Lord and his sword base and got to attack Iron Fist, who I moved up. And then he Gamora'd back to my point to steal it. But he dazed Iron Fist, which gave Iron Fist the power to Iron Fist Gamora and take her activation away. And not daze her, left her on like 1 damage, 1 health left, 1 or 2 health left. Daredevil gaining 3 power on the first turn allowed him to move into a position where he got to area attack Drax, Star-Lord, and Groot. Daze Groot, Daze Star-Lord. Dealt some damage to Drax. Ended up dazing Gamora on the next turn. Ended up killing Groot on the next turn. Star-Lord died on turn. The end of 3 or 4. Daredevil honestly just got to sit in the middle and not do a whole lot besides make multiple strikes and attack backs, and had power to do Devil's Deliverance 3 turns in a row.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was really really good. There were some bad die rolls for Borka in this game that did not go very well for him. Punisher was able to sit back and just kind of pop shots in. All in all, it was just a lot of die rolling, and then some not so great results on one half. It felt better to play the 4 wide on sword base. The researcher points, I think it ended up 17 or 16 to some small arbitrary number. Not a small, but not a lot. I think 4 or 5. We were able to not move the researcher only moved once, which was nice. Like it just the way it worked. I basically every time he got a second character on it, I got a character dazed, so I didn't have to worry too much about the characters getting the moving that. We just got to sit there, which was really good for Daredevil. Essentially kept Gamora out of the game with Iron Fist, which was beneficial because she had so much power. And then Ghost Rider just kind of flew around the board and flipped sword bases and used energy attacks into Groot. So
Yeah.
Groot is
at one-
sad.
yeah. Well, and then once you kill Groot, Rocket gets real sad. So
Yeah. At one point, I looked over at your board, and you had killed Groot and Star-Lord, and I was thinking, oh man.
yeah, when the game ended, the only character he had alive was Drax. Drax was
Oof.
dazed. Rocket died. Or maybe Rocket was no, Rocket died. Rocket died. Gamora died. Star-Lord died. Groot died.
Everybody died.
A lot of people died. I mean, there was like especially on the Devil Deliverance turns outside of Drax. I mean, like I think I rolled like 8 successes against Star-Lord, and he just, I mean, even with rerolls, had like 0, and it was just like it just felt bad.
Yeah.
It's just one of those where it just the dice weren't um, coming up well. And as you guys know now, Daredevil's very hard to kill. Um, very hard to kill, counting blanks. Iron Fist also getting to count blanks makes it difficult.
At
Punisher
least
doesn't need to get near anybody.
at least with Iron Fist, if you move outside of
3.
3, yeah, you can get rid of that counting
Yeah,
blanks.
which was
That
what,
does
which
not
was it
work
was
on Daredevil.
doesn't work on Daredevil. Which actually was really I had to keep him away from Star Lord and Rocket. So like the way the board was set up was really funny because Iron Fist was just like back in the corner, just punching the shit out of Gamora, um, and trying to stay as far away from Rocket and Star Lord as possible. But basically, getting to take Gamora out of the game was really beneficial. And then Punisher literally just sat on the side point. Also, like having and like the one time I needed him to, he got to short move up and then had a range. I had enough. I he had days, so I had 8 power and I was able to move up, spend the 2 power to short move, and then I was able to put 2 spenders out, which is really good.
Yeah.
That's
Man,
actually that's when I killed Star Lord.
okay. Punisher is very good. He is a very good 3-pointer.
Yeah, being affiliated now makes him the first 3-pointer I take in defenders. Hip fire, if he's able to hip fire on turn 1, it guarantees an aim shot on turn 2. And even then, you can move, and then hip fire aim shot on 2. Um, if he's really good with hammers because having a rapid fire that you can add dice to makes it really good. Having the auto destruction of terrain, auto damage on Warzone, being able to blow up terrain to give auto damage, um, and then the punishment tokens, which I forgot in this game, which was really unfortunate. I definitely forgot to give him punishment tokens multiple times.
It
Oh
doesn't.
man.
It doesn't sound like it mattered.
Yeah.
It did not matter. It did not matter. It was just one of those moments in the game when I thought I was like, if this fucking matters, especially because the listeners don't know my record against Borka and how fucking atrocious it is. So like the fact that there was a point where I was like, if I lose this game because I forgot to get like my punishment tokens, I'm gonna hate myself because he had he had a rather good turn, but there was like most of the game was kind of swaying towards me. Uh, so it was one of those things where if I flub this, I'm gonna be so upset. But he was able to kill. Uh, did he actually? He killed Punisher. He did kill Punisher. Um, he Daredevil survived with 1 health for like 3 activations, which was really unfortunate for him.
Well, one of
Mhm.
those you did a Heroes for Hire.
I did Heroes for Hire and basically sacrifice Iron Fist. But it was just really unlucky. Because he should have definitely not. But again, when you're rolling 4 defense dice against physical and counting blanks, it's tough. So it worked out. It was really good. Everyone on my side was dazed. Everyone on his side was either dead or dazed. It was definitely a brutal little fight that we had at 15. It was a really good match. I was thankful and lucky to come out victorious in that match.
All right. So that's how the tournament shook out. It ended up being Brandon and Borka both went 2-1, and Steven and I both went 1-2. And so
And I went 0-0.
Yep, you were perfect.
No losses. I had the most victory points at the end and was declared the winner.
yes.
Of the affiliation battle.
of the affiliation battle. Defenders are really, really good now. I need the world to just recognize that they are very good. And you never have to leave affiliation. I did come. There were some declarations that I would probably change, which are wild. But I do think there, if it happens again, I've already adjusted my list accordingly. I think there are two significant changes that I would make.
What are those?
Fred made changes to his list in the middle of the tournament. Not to
I
what he
did.
was playing, but for next time.
Yeah, for the next time I do an affiliation battle, I changed the. I'm
Well-
absolutely gonna bring. I got rid of Gamma because that's ridiculous, and I put in
Yeah,
Demons Downtown.
that was on me. I kind of was the insight to
Fred,
a lot of those changes happened in our game.
those changes will be good for even not affiliation battle version of your list.
Yeah.
Well, we realized for Fred that he needed to be playing mission objective for the exact scenario that he had where he wants to play Legacy Virus.
Yeah.
So you don't have to play Sinister Traps.
Right.
That's not great. And then we changed two of the extracts, one extract, one secure.
I had. Oh, I don't even remember what the second one was because it didn't come up. But I changed it to the one pay to flip where it's
Mutant Madman.
Mutant Madman. That's it. Yep. So I put in Mutant Madman and Demons Downtown.
Yep. So your secures were Intrusions, Gamma, Sword, because they were the same three that I had, which made when I won priority way easier for me.
Yeah.
Because then we got to play my extracts, which is actively what you wanted to be doing. And then we adjusted. My adjustments aren't to my secures or extracts. I feel like I did have the correct secures and extracts. Most likely. I didn't get a play on intrusions. I think I'm fine on intrusions. I don't think where it's a low point, I can just most of the time out attrition, depending on what the extract is. The changes I make will probably be wild here. So it's taking Wolverine and Immortal Hulk out of the roster.
Not Wolverine.
I know. So the change is Wolverine, and you're this. I don't even like saying it out loud. I think Elektra is the right choice.
Oh my goodness. What?
Yeah. It's not really her, it's the fact that she has grunts.
Oh my goodness.
Grunts are really good, and the grunts that she has are very good.
Yeah.
And it allows you to play extract games a little bit better. It's a very iffy situation. Like, she's not coming very often, but on like cubes and stuff, she fits in really well because she lets you play the big boys plus her and still be slightly wider, because you get the grunts as well. She rolls really good defenses. She has stealth and martial prowess. Martial prowess is really good.
She also gives you a range 3 mystic attack that is a gainer, right? So she's going to use it often. So it kind of varies up your attack types.
That was something that happened in the match with Borka, was how relevant martial prowess became. There was a lot of free damage he was getting in with martial prowess, which ended up being not super relevant, but it became very unfortunate because I whiffed a lot. That 2 damage happened, I think, 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So it came that in combination with the grunts, I think, or the hand ninjas. We don't have to call them grunts. They're, the hand ninjas, I think, is really relevant for a lot of different scenarios, especially for a model that's kind of like that 9th or 10th model in the roster. I think it just gives a lot more play to a lot of scenarios that the rest of the list may not enjoy too much. So if I would get something like My extract being like fear grips, and then them getting like superpowered scoundrels. Like I will need like I would it'll be beneficial to have a model that is technically 2 models, um, and can pick up the extracts. The next change is Immortal Hulk, um, for Amazing Spider-Man, um, for pay to flip scenarios is.
Wow.
I don't think there's a
Wow.
scenario where Immortal Hulk makes the cut, uh, with regular Hulk just being
Better.
so good. Yeah. So like the idea was at 16 it was Immortal Hulk instead of regular Hulk. And I think I would rather have Me and Brad talked about. I think having Amazing Spider-Man being so much better on pay to flips than anything else I have to do, is a lot better. Is actually better for roster construction and just playing 15 points at 16 if I want to play like a high tall list with just playing Hulk, Ghost Rider, Daredevil at
It's-
15 on 16.
This is Brad has infected you with his play a point down perversity. This is madness.
Hulk is really, really good, and I'm
Yeah,
not
he
saying
is.
Immortal Hulk's not, but having both of them in the roster
Okay,
is
Was a
redundant.
wasted
here's the
slot.
thing,
Was a
Fred.
wasted slot.
Here's the thing, Fred. Um, that extra point is not worth more than an extra roster spot.
I know.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying.
I
It's
also
just it's
don't have
nuts.
a great situation on pay to flips, outside of that. So, not that it's bad, but it's not great. Like my physical pay to flex, like Mutant Madman, I'm fine, but like on the 2 energy ones, like I'm not
Oh,
ideal.
the one you talked Fred into putting in his list, you're good with.
I have a lot of 4s. I have a lot of 4 physical defenses. Ghost Rider's 3, so like it's kind of that adjustment of I could play instead of instead of Hulk, like in some matchups you can play a 4 to 2, and you can play like Elektra and Wong, and you get 3 models versus 1 if you do need to go a little bit wider, versus 2 3s, depending on the situation. Um, it doesn't do anything when Ghost Rider needs to be replaced, because you can't play a 4 and a 1, but you just still play like a 3 and a 2 if you need to replace Ghost Rider. Um, but I think the Grunt is worth having, and I think Amazing Spider-Man's worth having for specific scenarios. I don't think they're going to see a lot of play in the roster. Um, you have a really good core models with Daredevil, Ghost Rider, Hulk, Iron Fist, Punisher. Those are the 5 you reach for first, from my experience, and then you have Moon Knight. Depending, if you're playing against something that's got, if there's a Wolverine on the other side, Moon Knight's really good. Uh, Luke Cage is really good if you're trying to play a
Wolverine
different
also
style game.
just kills Moon Knight.
Wolverine does just kill Moon Knight. You have to prioritize killing Wolverine if you want to. It's not a it's a one-sided affair on both sides. But Wolverine was really good, and I got to play with him a couple times, and he does fit really good in the roster. But he is kind of redundant. Like the only real scenario is 19 on Demons. If you play like Demons Research Station, at 19, you play Daredevil, Ghost Rider, Hulk, Wolverine, which it's really good. Um, I think that probably I think I'm fine playing Elektra in that matchup and still having Daredevil, Ghost Rider, and Hulk, and being able to play 2 bodies, to kind of get
Or
different points.
or you can play Punisher instead of Elektra or Wolverine. Play point down, but he gets to sit on that back point and just shoot.
Yeah, I don't like where you're going with this.
Somebody's got to sit on that back point. It might as well be Punisher.
Punisher does like sitting on back points and just popping shots.
Yeah,
He does.
guys,
He does it.
I'm telling you, try playing a point down.
Stop listening to Brad.
Yeah, this is bad advice. Do not listen to what we say.
I do have 4. I have 4 3s in the list. I might end up cutting Luke Cage from the list. I don't like it. But God, the 4s are just so good. I don't want to carry 3 4s, but I might end up carrying 3 4s.
I think that's fine.
I I know you're pretty set on your list, but like I prefer to have both Ghost Rider and Doctor Strange because they both give me two different elements. Strange is obviously a control piece for me to control other characters,
Yeah.
whereas Ghost Rider is an attrition piece. I don't know if you thought about that.
Yeah, I think it's fine. My list is like really built around attrition. That's kind of where Amazing Spider-Man gets to come in because he can
Mm-hmm.
play a little bit of a different game plan for pay to flips, and he can be not super controlling, but a little bit um, controlling. I'm definitely on a very attrition game plan. I don't want to carry. I don't even want to carry two fives to be honest. I originally had Sorcerer Supreme in the list because I do really like him, but I never felt like I was going to play him over um, Ghost Rider or Hulk. Amazing Spider-Man I can kind of benefit playing because he is so good on the pay to flips and has, the web swing and like the witty banner. He's very hard to kill. Um, and he can just fly across the board. Um, he's definitely better now than he was.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a very big affiliation. There's a lot of stuff that can kind of float around. Like there's a lot of really good fives in this affiliation. Like you have Ghost Rider, you have both Doctor Stranges, you have Amazing Spider-Man, you also have Scarlet Witch. Like you've got a lot of really good fives and defenders. Like there's a lot of ways to go with this roster. It will change over time. Uh,
This
I
is
my
this is a the Daredevil change has created a monster of a new faction in the Defenders. It's the
Yeah.
Defender Sans that's happening
It's
right
it's
now.
it's it's really really good. I think people are realizing it really quick. Like they've already kind of started climbing up on Longshanks and stuff. Like you're definitely seeing the change. Like people are like this roster's very very good. Like this not the roster. The affiliation's has a lot of really really good models and now adding a leader that's hard to kill. It's really the 4 points. It allows you to play the 5 and 6s reliably. Um, so like on 15 you couldn't play strong like Strange, Ghost Rider, Hulk. Like you had to play a 4, which just makes that way worse of a 15. And also Strange doesn't really want to play like a fight on 15 all that much. Um, so it's interesting. Like there are definitely there's going to be a ton of different ways to play this affiliation. There are going to be a ton of different models. Like obviously it's like the third biggest roster or maybe the fourth biggest affiliation in the game. So like, there's a lot of different ways to play it. There are a ton of threes. Like there are a ton of really good threes. So
Yeah,
that's just been my take. I've solely been focusing on Daredevil. I don't want the second leadership at this moment in my roster to audible to Doctor Strange. I want to focus kind of solely on Daredevil being the leader
Mhm.
at this moment. It's
For your
my
threes,
thought.
have you thought about Valkyrie at all?
I had Valkyrie. I had Valkyrie over Luke Cage for a long time. I really like Valkyrie. Um, I also really like Magic. I think Magic is criminally underplayed. Shout out to Justy and his love for Magic. I always like to consider her. I think she's really good. Um, she's mostly for the Mystic, having a 3-pointer that can just bring energy and Mystic. Um, but I do like Valkyrie a lot. I think doesn't. Luke Cage doesn't see play a ton. I could also honestly I could replace Luke Cage and Moon Knight, Iron Fist and Punisher, the two that are locked in opposite order. Punisher's the first three I grab every time, and then Iron Fist is the second three I grab every time. The
You
next
should
two are
you,
definitely replaceable.
you should replace Moon Knight with Magic.
I like Magic a lot. My Moon Knight's painted though, so
I like
You're
Valkyrie
welcome.
because she gets 2 power a
thank you,
turn
thank
and
you,
can
thank you.
use her charge turn 1.
Yeah, I like Valkyrie a lot. I've actually been playing Asgard for like outside of it. I have had a lot of fun playing Asgard. New Thor's real good. New Hela real good. Angela hasn't changed, still really good. Scourge also good. So yeah, I like Magic. I like Magic for Moon Knight. I do actually really like. I've been considering that. I don't have a painted Magic. I do have a painted Moon Knight. Most of this roster is painted, so I'll be honest, that's probably what has swayed me to Moon Knight. I also love Moon Knight as a character, and it kind of makes me sad that he's slightly underwhelming.
No, Moon Knight's great.
He is good.
But
He is
all
good.
right, I'm cutting us off. We're almost an hour into the podcast and we have not talked about Nightcrawler yet. We need
And
to
you
move.
have been listening to the Defenders podcast.
Yeah.
Which could be a good time to tell people that I am actively searching to bring back Well Laid Plans. We're going to start that up soon.
Hey, there you go. There's some news, everybody.
So we are going to do that. We're going to have I've got a couple things in the pipeline that I want to do. We're going to start off with things I want to do, and then we're going to kind of go back into some stuff I just want to get out there. Some rosters that I want to build. Me and Brad talked about it. I think I'm going to start off with just going over the Criminal Syndicate roster that I've talked about for a year plus, and just kind of going over that, and just kind of doing that as a quick into the format, into the pod, and then get back to some special guests. I do want to do Daredevil. I think I'm gonna get with one of our Pittsburgh friends to possibly go over Inhumans again, with all the changes. I think it's a good time to reinvest in that, and the same thing with Asgard, and just kind of reinvest in those. I think those are some really good affiliations that have spawned with the changes, and I think they'll be really fun to talk about. So, also Moon Knight's really good. You should play him, and Web Warriors especially. I think he's a really good fit there. Just not when you're trying to play attrition defenders.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the guy that we're here to cover today. And that is Nightcrawler, otherwise known as Kurt Wagner. His defenses are 4 physical, 3 energy, and 3 mystic. He has 6 stamina on his front side, but only 5 stamina on his back side. He's threat 4, size 2, and he moves medium. And Brandon, why don't you cover his attack suite?
Yeah, I can do that. Hold on one second.
Oh, okay. All right. If you don't have it up, then Steven, why don't you cover his attack
I'm
suite?
already here. I got it. I got it.
You got it. Okay.
So first attack is a physical teleporting strike. It is range 3, 5 dice. It costs 0 power. After this attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to the damage dealt. It has a trigger that's called haha. After damage is dealt, if this character is not within range 2 of the target character gains the stun special condition. His second attack is Brimstone Blitz. It's also a physical attack. It's range 2, 5 dice. It costs 1 power. You add dice to this attack equal to the number of times this character has been placed this turn. And then if you hit a crit and a hit, it has Flurry of Blows. After the attack is resolved, this character may make an additional attack action. This attack must target the original target character.
Okay. And Steven, why don't you go over the first 2 superpowers that he's got here?
Okay. First, you have an active superpower called BAMF. This is his traditional wording in the comics, I would believe. It costs you X power. Go ahead, Brad. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's the sound effect of him teleporting.
Yeah, it's an onomatopoeia.
Thanks, Fred.
We have BAMF. This character may spend 1, 2, 3 power to use the superpower. Place this character within range X, which is 1 to 3 of itself, where X is the amount of power spent. The superpower can be used only once per turn. And then we have a reactive superpower called Puff of Smoke. When this character makes an attack after damage is dealt, this character may use the superpower. Place this character within 2 of the target character. It will cost you 0 power.
Yeah. And Brad, why don't you finish off the card?
His next superpower is reactive.
I gave you the hardest.
Yeah,
the hardest word.
Ungoblich.
Just say German acrobatics. Yeah.
I took German. Well, it's been a long time. Um, I
Didn't
believe that
stick.
is the German word for unbelievable. But acrobatics, right? Cost 2. When this character is targeted by a physical or energy attack or makes a dodge roll, may use a superpower. Add 2 dice to the character's defense or dodge roll. Innate, invisible, and shadow. While this character is within range 1 of a terrain feature size 2 or more, characters must be within range 3 of this character to target it with attacks. And then he has Wall Crawler.
Okay. All right. So,
Did we mention he loses a health on his backside?
Yes.
yes, I did mention that.
I figured you did. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, yeah. Before we move on to talk about anything else, there is a tactics card that I think we really need to cover because it's a tremendous tactics card. It's a very powerful one. It is called Mass Transit. It is an unaffiliated, and it is an active one that will cost an action. It specifies on the card. And Nightcrawler may spend 3 power to play this card. Choose up to 3 other allied characters within range 2 of Nightcrawler. Place Nightcrawler within range 3 of himself. Then place each chosen character within range 1 of Nightcrawler. After this effect is resolved, Nightcrawler gains the Stagger special condition. That's incredible. That's bananas. I don't know. This one's insane. Like, this is why you would bring Nightcrawler.
Nope.
You state. Wait,
There
you
are
disagree?
there are plenty of reasons to bring this character.
I
agree
I
with
don't
that.
think this card gets played, Fred.
Are you serious? What are you talking about?
To take 2 actions to teleport probably 1 person.
Well, I mean, you got to plan it out. You have to deploy expecting this.
Deploy expecting this?
Well,
Where is he
you
getting
have
3 power on turn 1?
I mean, you're right. That's a good point. I don't
If
I
you
don't know
can
the
play
answer to
this
that.
on turn 1, sure.
You can't. There's no way.
There's
no way to play it on
you
turn
can
1.
play this on turn 1, Fred.
Long R&D, you can.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
a lot of investment.
That's true.
All right. So you know what this card is? I bring this up a lot. This
A
is the
trap?
card that. Yes, it is a trap, but it's that card that
no,
comes.
really?
It's that card that comes in the pack that seems really cool, but like you should never play it in a tournament. You should play it at home with your friends for fun.
Yep.
It's the fun card, not the good card. It's not the atrocious card. Like it's just that card you only play when you're playing. You play this when you're teaching people to play.
Huh. Okay.
Like they've done a really good job in card packs of giving us like a playable card, a fun card, and then usually like a mediocre card. This is the fun card I think that's going to be in this pack. It has got really cool art. Like we can talk about that. The art on this card is sweet.
It is very cool art. I'm still thinking about how many ways that this can be useful. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
2 actions and a card slot useful? No.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you lose a complete activation.
Yeah.
Right.
You lose an activation, a tactics card. I don't know of a scenario where you're wanting to, if you
Move
want
3
4
people
characters
across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, like
In entertainment terms, these are the previews for movies that look really, 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 really cool, and then you get to the movie and it's not very good.
This is me watching the Five Nights at Freddy's trailer and going, "This is gonna be fun."
Yeah.
have
How's
you
that go,
seen the
Fred?
trailer for Cube?
That's a great movie.
Oh, boy.
You be quiet. Also, in the art, he is teleporting 5 people.
He is. He's a whole gaggle of people he is taking with him. And we actually have all those characters in the game, which is really nice.
Yeah, we do. All right, so so now that we've gone over the tactics card, let's talk about this character just in general. I want to talk about Brimstone Blitz, his spender, which only costs 1 power. I guess if you're not going to use the tactics card, which would be one of the places, is the greatest number that you can get to 8 dice?
No.
Is that the most? Can you get it higher than that?
Oh, absolutely, Fred. So if you look at Flurry of Blows, I want to draw your attention to saying to it not having the phrase that the additional attack does not have this rule.
Oh,
You notice how that's not there?
I do see. Okay, so you could flurry.
You can
But
Flurry of
you would
Blows
just-
over
Hmm.
and over and over and over again as long as you hit the trigger. And then you
Okay.
can Puff of Smoke on every one
Every
of those
single time.
attacks.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
So you're
I
essentially
didn't realize
you will
that.
just add dice. It has an infinite amount of dice you can technically add to this deck.
He has no ceiling. Except, wait.
Power. You still have to pay for the power for Flurry
Yes.
of Blows. Which
Yes.
is one, which is an
Yes.
incredibly cheap
That-
spender.
but that's
it's
the-
a great spender.
That's the only that and your dice luck is the only thing keeping you from going on.
And on a base 5 attack, you're looking at under 40% odds to hit the crit hit.
Right, but in theory, you will have
You will-
used Bamf. You spend 1 power to Bamf. And then you could maybe do a teleporting strike beforehand, and then do
a-
Puff of Smoke
yeah.
off of that.
So you can start at 7 dice.
Okay.
6 brings it up to 47, and then 7 would go slightly over 50%.
Yeah, but there are ways, where he can get stopped. So, like if you put root on him, his puff of smoke
Yes.
becomes very
Yeah.
not good.
Oh,
Root-
you're
root-
right.
Root hurts him a lot.
Root is this guy's bane.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Loki is his bane too.
Yeah, Loki's
It's
Yep.
also his bane is the fact that if he can't go on forever unless if he kills someone, if he dazes them, it's over. This is
Oh,
really
right,
good into like a Hulk, the big threats, because you can just kind of try to take them out and just get lucky.
or at least put them in range for someone else to take them out.
Yeah.
Now, I know the phrase is everybody's good with a hammer, but I would suggest that this guy is probably one of those candidates that actually exceeds other characters with a hammer.
Yeah.
This is an exceptional tech piece.
Yeah.
There's another mutant that's also exceptional with hammers that has a similar power to Flurry of Blows.
Can I make an aside here? When you said there's a saying that everyone's good with a hammer, I was like, wait, is there? Is everyone good with a hammer? What if I didn't have any? I didn't realize you meant just in this game.
Yeah.
I was like,
Right? No,
is everyone
that's,
good with a hammer?
that's the meme. Yeah. That's why everybody likes playing that scenario. But specifically, I would point out Nightcrawler and Quicksilver are probably the best characters with a hammer.
Okay. I agree with Nightcrawler. I haven't looked at Quicksilver in a very long time, so I don't know.
He has a similar thing where he can keep attacking.
Okay.
His is on his free attack though.
His builder, yeah. So, and he
Rocket
has to-
is also great with a hammer with the Deadly Duo.
yeah, but that's taking a tactics card.
Yeah.
I'm just talking specifically for what the character can do on their card.
Yeah.
Also, just point of order, Quicksilver not a mutant.
He's in Brotherhood of Mutants.
He's a superior inhuman.
He's also not an inhuman. That was back when he thought he was a mutant, and everyone else thought he was a mutant, but he's not a mutant.
Oh no. Well, they have him listed in that, so I'm going to go with that he and his sister still are mutants.
They are not. I wish they were.
Well, let's also talk about invisible and shadow. This is a new rule. I don't think this has been on anybody else,
Nope.
and even this sort of interaction, I don't think has been on anybody else. Where if he's within range 1 of a terrain feature of size 2 or more, which is most terrain features, characters must he basically has stealth while close to a terrain feature.
Except you can't ignore it. Like you can sometimes ignore stealth,
Right. So it's an unignorable stealth.
but it's also
You have to target. You can't
also-
target him.
It's also conditional.
Right. Right. I like it. I like this as a rule that it's on him. Do you feel like if they just had put stealth on him, it would be too good? It would just be too good for this
No.
character.
I think this
I-
is. I think this is a flavor decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
It
very
makes it more
fitting.
interesting. Like it's a more interesting play style to just put this on there than just say he has stealth.
I have a question. Do
Yeah.
we wish that all stealth characters had this kind of invisible and shadow trigger?
Nope.
I wish Daredevil did.
Your Daredevil's good enough. Oh, is he just not innately stealth?
He doesn't have stealth at all.
Right. Yeah, he's good enough. He doesn't need to be better.
I think stealth's fine, the way it is.
They've done a really good job on mutants specifically, giving them like abilities that are very much like abilities that they would have. Like the flavor on mutants is like superior to anything else.
Well,
Yeah.
they made a mistake, but we'll talk about her next week, I think.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Nightcrawler. I think
I do too.
they did a great job capturing his character from the comics. I've gotten to play him a couple times. He has not gotten to shown, but he's always been solid. With Banff and First Class, he's pretty good objective grabber first turn. He can grab a middle objective and back up. And if you just back up to within 1 of a piece of terrain, he then gains unignorable stealth. His attacks are
He's
good.
yeah.
Super mobile.
I think we should also talk
How
about
good would he
teleport.
have been under Old Storm?
Yeah, real good. He's great under Cyclops. Like
Yeah.
that extra power.
I think he might be part of the reason that Storm got a little nerf though.
Yeah, it could be.
This would have made like the techie, like just straight up will win the game on points X-Men insane.
Yeah. Another place you can get a place to bump up your first Brimstone Blitz though, Fred, is Storm.
Yeah, using the Storm affiliation.
It costs another power to do that,
But it's worth it.
yeah, it's probably worth it.
I think that if you could increase a character's attack die by spending 1 dice, every single character would do that. That would be something that the math works out better no matter what. So, absolutely. All right. So that is. Is there anything else that anyone wants to bring up about Nightcrawler? All right. Let's give him a letter grade. I'll go first. I didn't quite realize just how good Brimstone Blitz was until you pointed out that it is not that he can just keep doing it. And every single time he does it, he rolls an additional dice because you would puff of smoke. So I mean, I think that's really cool. That's really incredible. And if you get going, if you get rolling enough dice, you could just eliminate a unit. And if it's against a Hulk, that's a huge boon to your side. So I'm tempted to give him an A minus. I think that I'm gonna give Nightcrawler an A minus. Steven, what are your thoughts on Nightcrawler?
He's a good piece. I mean, he's not that four threat. I mean, there's a lot of good four threats in the mutants category. So I think he would be more of a tech piece than anything else, considering. Depends on who you're going against, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, you have now the upgraded Colossus, who's really, really good. You have Wolverine, who's really, really good. You have Logan, who's really, really good. So you have Rogue, who's still not bad, right? So I do like him. I'll firmly put him at a B plus.
Okay. Brandon, what are your thoughts here on Nightcrawler?
I think when you build an Uncanny X-Men list, I think he is the second 4-pointer you grab after Cyclops to play Cyclops' leadership.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think he's entirely too good at scenario play and has the ability to take down big threats that it's going to be too invaluable when you're playing that affiliation. I am at a solid. I'm with Fred, and I don't like being with Fred. I'm with Fred here.
You giving him an A minus?
A minus, yeah, yeah.
All right. And now Brad, the person who is going to be playing him.
Yeah, the one of us that will actively play him more than anybody else.
I will be playing him. So Steven's right. Fours they used to not get played at all.
Oh, by the way, I forgot Psylocke too.
Yeah, Psylocke's great. Fours used to not get played at all in X-Men. Maybe one. And now it's so crowded. Nightcrawler's still going to see a lot of play. I think he's good with both leaders. He is already not the best of the new models. But he is really solid. He's also a character that if you like Nightcrawler, but you play, I don't know, Avengers. Avengers, he's not. Well, it depends on the leader, but you can play him. Like
if you're playing a scenario based game plan, like he fits in really well, and you can play him. Nightcrawler, to my discredit, fun fact: Nightcrawler is my second favorite mutant.
I also am a huge fan of Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler's
awesome.
Great. You guys have good taste.
There are pictures of me as a very small child with a Nightcrawler toy in the bathtub. On little facts.
Okay. So I think he's very solid. I think you could play him in a lot of different places. I don't think you're gonna they're doing a good job of this. He's not going to be splashed everywhere, but he's a character that if you like, you can play him. He's gonna get played in Uncanny X-Men a lot. I'm going for B plus, but the difference between a B plus and an A minus is almost negligible. So
yeah, so we're all real close together.
We
here.
are all real
and
close
together. We like him. He's good. He's good, and you should go buy him and play him.
He's good. That box is going to be really, really fun, I think.
Bishop and Nightcrawler.
Yeah, we don't have Bishop yet. I'm excited to see what Bishop is, but I think it'll be a really fun box.
I think the fact that Bishop is X-Force is going to help him out a lot.
I'm very excited to see where X-Force goes with all of this.
Nightcrawler could have also been an X-Force, but they did not go
But
that
he
way.
is not.
Yeah, they did not go that way.
Is the only
also
one
good?
Is the only affiliation that he is in X-Men? Is that the only one?
That is the only one we know of, and that is probably the only one until we get Excalibur.
Oh my god. Okay.
Excalibur's the best, Fred.
I
Oh
hope
my
it's just
goodness.
I hope it's just a leadership and you don't get a new affiliation to play with.
Do you guys want to play a little prediction game?
Yeah, let's play a prediction game.
So, speaking about his box mate on this cast, would we like to make predictions of what threat value Bishop will be?
uh
5.
No.
I don't have an opinion. I don't know enough about Bishop.
I,
I
But
don't
I don't.
you don't.
I would
you
like to say I
have
don't
to
think
know.
I don't think he should be a 5, but I think he'll be a 5.
Brandon says 5. I got marked down for that.
I'm gonna say 3.
Okay. Fred.
That's quite the disparity.
I think
do I
4 is
shoot
the
the middle?
safest guess, but I think he's gonna be a 3.
Then I'm gonna guess 4.
I also would say I think 4 is most likely the accurate, but I think they're gonna get a 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay. So
the
I
6
have
being. Oh, sorry.
I have Brandon at 5, Brad at 3, and Fred at 4. We'll keep that for future and see who's correct.
All
And the
right.
6 being Xavier, Fred. The answer.
Yeah, that's what I assumed.
Do we want to do Xavier too?
Yeah, we can do Professor X. That's fine.
And Iceman?
Sure.
Let's
Oh,
go
fuck,
ahead
I
and do
forgot
all
about
our
Iceman.
guesses. Professor X,
6.
3.
I gotta stick to my guns.
What?
3?
I think he's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be
say
a 3.
5. I want to say 5.
Okay. So Brad is a 3. Brandon. What did you say, Brandon? A 6?
Yeah. I think that
Fred, you
box
said
will be a
5.
5 and a 6.
Yep.
Which doesn't make any sense. They've never done 2 big threats in a box.
Yeah, they did Cassandra
Jean-
Nova and Jean Grey.
We're 5.
That's 2 5. Yeah.
All right, and we have Iceman predictions. So I'll start with Fred this time.
I'm gonna say 5 again.
Okay, Brad?
I think they'll make him a 4.
I also was gonna say 4.
Okay, you can say 4. That's fine.
I'll stick with 4.
I would have said
All right.
possibly a 3, but Kitty's a 3 in the same box, and I just don't think they'll put 2 3s in there.
Yeah, don't give us 3s a whole year and then give us 2 3s in one box. So the
Yeah.
first box of like the new year would be something else.
Okay.
Have we talked
well,
about Shadow King yet?
No.
Okay. Sorry, I know I'm sporadic. I've been sporadic lately, so I'm not sure who we've
Well,
done and
yeah,
who we
we're
haven't.
we're doing them in the order that they were told to us.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, I have all these written down. I will put them in an envelope for safekeeping.
Oh boy. Seal it,
Yeah.
mail it to yourself.
No. I'll just put it up and do a little time capsule thing on it. I think it'll be neat. So,
Okay. All right.
and for those listening, you can also play and see if you're correct. So,
Tell us down in the comments.
Yeah. All right, Brad. Do you have any comic books that feature Nightcrawler?
I sure do.
I'm sure that you do.
Yeah, I love Nightcrawler. So, the first thing I'm going to recommend is a single issue. It's the Uncanny X-Men Annual number 4 by Chris Claremont and John Romita Sr. In this issue, the X-Men go to hell to try to save the soul of Nightcrawler. So Nightcrawler, in his first appearance in Giant Size X-Men number 1, was saved by an angry mob by Xavier. So this tells the story of what led up to that, which his adoptive brother was killing children, and then he had to kill his adoptive brother to stop him. And then all the townsfolk thought that the demon-looking guy was killing the children, and they found him with the body of a guy, and so they were chasing him. And now his adoptive mother wants revenge for Kurt killing her son. But luckily, the X-Men, Doctor Strange, and his adoptive sister are there to try to rescue him from hell. Well, fake hell. But that's all right.
Yeah. So they can just go to hell and
well,
save
this
people.
is fake hell. This has been created by his adoptive mother, who is a very strong sorceress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then at the end of the issue, his sister reveals that she has been going by a different name for months and has been dating Kurt.
Wait, whose sister? Hold on. What?
Nightcrawler's sister
Has been dating Nightcrawler?
has been dating
Kurt?
Nightcrawler, his adoptive sister. They grew up in
okay.
like technically his adoptive sister.
We're getting into the weirdness of X-Men again, where they're all having sex. They're all and
Incestuous.
they're all incestuous.
No, it's not presented as incestuous. Like, yes, that they grew up together and technically are adoptive brother and sister, but they've never viewed each other as brother and sister.
Would you say they're step siblings?
Not exactly.
And that there's like an entire category on every porn site about this?
Fred, you've been looking at bad stuff. This does open an interesting wormhole of Nightcrawler's family, which is fascinating and is my second favorite family tree to talk about.
After Cyclops's?
Yes. So Nightcrawler's adoptive sister is also his girlfriend for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He killed his adoptive brother. His adoptive mom is one of the strongest sorceresses in the world. His real mom, do you know who that is, Fred?
No clue.
Mystique.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Except that might be retconned soon to make her his dad.
Oh. Okay.
But right now, his dad is Azazel, a literal demon mutant.
Okay. That's why he has the tail.
And looks like a demon. Yeah, that's one of the dumbest stories ever written, though. So Mystique and her wife Destiny, who might become Kurt's biological mother in an upcoming comic book, because that was the author's original intention. They have an adoptive daughter. Do you know who that is?
Who?
Rogue.
Okay.
So Rogue and Nightcrawler
Rogue
are brother and sister.
Rogue, they are, well, no, they're stepbrother and sister.
They're adoptive brother and sister.
Adoptive brother and sister, yes.
Yes, because Rogue was adopted.
Yes.
And he has a half-brother. So
Is it Gambit?
No. No, that would be really weird.
Because that would...
No, Gambit could be Cyclops' brother. That is unknown. That has been hinted at, but not. Anyway, no. Mystique and Sabretooth had a son named Graydon Creed, who is a human who was in charge of Friends of Humanity, an anti-mutant group.
Oh, God. Okay.
That's actually in the cartoon.
Okay. Yikes.
That's Nightcrawler's family.
Wow. Okay.
I have more.
Do you have
comics.
another one?
Yeah, I have more comics. The next one is Nightcrawler, Volume 1 from the 80s, 1 through 4. It's written and drawn by Dave Cockrum. He's Nightcrawler's co-creator and probably his number 2 fan. But he has written and drawn this swashbuckling adventure where each issue, Nightcrawler is in a different dimension and kind of a different story archetype. There's like a pirate story and a fantasy story and all this stuff. And it's super lighthearted and fun, and it shows why a lot of people love Nightcrawler. It's great.
Okay.
And then I have a different side of Nightcrawler in the 2024 Nightcrawler series by Roberto Aguirre Sacasa and Derek Robertson.
How do you have this one?
What do you mean?
It's 2024?
2004.
Right now we are recording in
2023.
2023.
2004. Did I say 2024? 2000.
I may have misheard you. Okay, sorry.
2004.
2004.
Yeah. So, this takes place, a little bit of backstory of a comic that you should not read.
Okay.
Kurt Wagner becomes a Catholic priest. He finds out in a really bad story that he's not actually a Catholic priest. It was all a trick by these religious anti-mutant people to install him as Pope to cause the end of the world.
Okay.
So Kurt has always
So that's a
been,
mess.
yeah, it's not a good story. Anyway, Kurt's always been a devout Catholic though, but he's had some problems recently with his views on religion. See that whole story I just told you about? So he's struggling with that while he's being an occult investigator, literally fighting demons with the sometimes help of his adoptive sister / ex-girlfriend, Amanda Sefton, who is ruling limbo at the time.
Oh boy. Okay.
So no. This comic's fun. It's great. It's fabulous. But it's him with his more religious side fighting demons, which is very cool.
It sounds fun.
It is fun. It is a good comic. Don't let
Fred,
the whole sister girlfriend stop you guys from reading Nightcrawler stories. They're great together.
Fred, I have a quiz for you.
Okay. What's that?
In Marvel Comics, who is another character who is a devout Catholic?
Oh.
Oh, this is an easy one.
Oh, Daredevil. Daredevil.
Correct.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah. I got
I was
there.
going to say he punched you in the face a lot recently.
Yeah.
There are three. There are 3 well-known Jewish characters. Can you name any of them?
The Magneto.
4 well-known Jewish characters.
Was that not one of them?
Magneto?
Come on. How did you forget Magneto?
I don't know. He's not very religious.
He's not practicing.
Yes, he's not very
okay.
religious.
Okay.
So who are the other 3?
I have no clue. I bet if I sat and thought about it, I could come up with the answers.
Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde.
Okay.
The Thing, Ben Grimm.
Oh, okay.
I knew that one. I was trying to think of.
Do you know
I knew one that
do you know
always talks about being like.
Do you know the third one, Brandon?
No, the Thing was the only one I was trying to remember. I was trying to think of like
He
a
was-
character that always talks about.
He was in your list.
He was in my list. Is it Punisher?
No.
I didn't think so. Hold on, let me look at my list. In my list.
have no clue.
In my list. Is he still in my list?
After our talk earlier, probably not. They barely touched on this in the TV show, but they did. It's Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Moon
It's
Knight
the-
is Jewish.
Yeah, it's the one. It's Mark, right? It's not like that's.
Yeah, technically it's only one of the personalities, but whatever.
Sorry, I was just trying to remember. He is still currently in the list. I haven't taken him out. It's gonna be hard for me to take him out because he is
I'm
beautiful
telling you,
painted.
put magic in
and
that
I do-
spot. But we
We'll
cannot
paint my
get into
magic.
that again.
Yeah, we've covered this subject. All right.
Paint
all
my
right,
magic and I'll
Brandon,
put her in.
Brandon, what is a faction that you want to put Nightcrawler in?
Web Warriors, Miles Morales, Web Warriors.
Holy moly, yes, you're correct. That is
Yeah,
right.
I want to play with Miles Morales and the rest of the Web Warriors, specifically Gwen, Moon Knight, and then him. I think it's a really good core, and you will get to, and then Daredevil, him and Daredevil. So you get to play 8, and then 9, so you can play at 17 with Miles, Moon Knight, Gwen, Daredevil, and Nightcrawler, and I think you're playing a really good sub-punchy game, but you're playing a fantastic scenario game
That
with
is
really good plays on almost every kind of scenario.
that is an outstanding list.
Yeah.
What you just said.
Yeah,
I think
I
that's
think-
like a tournament level list.
Yeah, it was. It felt honestly kind of like really no brainer. I think Daredevil also adds so much now to Web Warriors that aren't getting probably enough credit or play. Being able to play Daredevil with Venom, and if you play like whatever splash characters you do play, and Miles, like you're hitting really hard. Like these are characters, even Moon Knight can hit really hard. Like you have in affiliation characters now that can hit really hard.
Okay.
So,
All right. Okay, we've been going on quite a while. I have the thing that I have isn't relevant, so let's just skip it. Is there anything else that y'all want to talk about before we end the episode?
Moon Knight versus Magic is really important to talk about.
All right.
I think.
Well, everyone, I want everyone out there to contemplate which one you'd rather take, Moon Knight or Magic. And until next time, goodbye, everybody.